जब भी हम म्यूज़िक बनाते थे, हम लोग बात करते थे, तो हमेशा से ये कॉन्वर्सेशन आता ही था कि किसी दिन वील जस्ट ट्रैवल एंड प्ले म्यूज़िक फॉर पीपल इन डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. So behind the scenes, back of the head, it was always there. And with somebody like him, where you just don't gel up as a musician, but also as a human being, there's just so much connect. This was always on the cards, I would say. Hello, I am Belief. I am an underpaid software developer by the day and an underappreciated musician by the night.
मेरा नाम दर्जी है. मैं आप लोगों के लिए गीत और ध्वनियाँ सिलता हूँ.
I am here at Premise
I would like to thank Premise for inviting us for this beautiful opportunity
to talk about my ongoing tour.
that I'm doing with Belief.
And I am very excited to share with you some interesting stories and behind the scene tidbits about this beautiful journey.
What was your guys' first impression जो आप लोग एक बार मिले थे starting के अंदर? How was that?
Do you want to do the honors?
So, flashback to my first year of college. My first week of college, actually, that was the second night of college.
2015.
2015. And a lot of us were divided into groups, small groups, and each group had like a senior assigned to them. And so the senior that was assigned to my group, he invited me to his room. He's like, I'm shifting near your room and it'll be cool. Bring your friends.
I want to introduce.
Yeah, I want to introduce like my friends to you. And I go to that room and I see that guy who later on became like the rapper Hani Karak, and this guy and another guy sitting with the, I don't know, there was this dead look in their eyes and shit, and they just invited us and they were like, what's happening? And हम अंदर गए, उन्होंने कुछ पूछताछ करी, questions पूछे. Then they made us do push-ups and whatnot. And then when they were asking their questions, he asked me, what do I do? So I said, I play the guitar and I sing. And he's like, oh. And he's like, I play the violin. And that's when we first met.
Yeah.
Uske baad, fast forward 3 months, somehow I ended up like playing guitar with him and 2 other musicians, amazing musicians from college. And I think that was it.
You guys would play together on a tour. Yeah, you guys would be doing a tour together. Because that is something which is like really very different than you guys playing together. So how did that idea came up? उसका कैसे हुआ सब चीज़?
So specifically, see, before he came along in the college, Battle of the Bands मुझे बहुत fascinate करता था, and I always wanted to be a part of a band, do shows, go to colleges. So when he came along and we found out that हमारा musical frequency इतना मिलता है and there is so much to explore together as musicians, हमने immediately एक छोटा सा band बना लिया था. It wasn't a band in the most standard form, but उसमें ऐसे थे कि 3 guitarists और एक violin जो कि मैं बजाता था. तो we did do some shows inside our university, और फिर हम लोग 1-2 बार शायद बिट्स पिलानी गए थे, एक बार बिट्स पिलानी गए थे. तो वो एक इनिशियल जो एसेंस था कि यार लाइक ट्रैवलिंग टू परफॉर्म, आई वाज ऑलवेज देयर एंड इट यूज्ड टू बी लाइक कि ये ही अगर हम करते रहे तो इट विल बी सो कूल. अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऑब्वियसली थिंग्स डिड नॉट वर्क एट दैट टाइम, क्योंकि फिर बिकॉज वी हैड गैप हमारे बैचेस में, सो आई पास्ड आउट एंड देन आई हैड टू टेक केयर ऑफ लाइफ इन अ वेरी डिफरेंट वे आउटसाइड म्यूजिक. एंड देन 2-3 साल बाद when we again started talking, and then I had become Belief by then, he had become Darzi by then. तो ये तब से फिर जब भी हम म्यूजिक बनाते थे, हम लोग बात करते थे, तो हमेशा से ये कॉन्वर्सेशन आता ही था कि किसी दिन we'll just travel and play music for people in different places. So behind the scenes, back of the head, it was always there. And with somebody like him, where you just don't gel up as a musician, but also as a human being, there's just so much connect. This was always on the cards, I would say.
I think पहली बार तो टूर की डिस्कशन हुई थी जब भाभी हंटर रिलीज हुआ था.
Yeah, Bhabi Hunter is obviously our pet project.
Yes.
For the lack of a better word. But that's when we first got a glimpse of कि there are people outside of Delhi who are listening to us. And कभी कभी ऐसे मुझे DMs आते थे, आई एम श्योर दर्जी को भी आता है कि come to Lucknow, come to Kanpur, come to Gujarat, come to this that. तो वो सबकॉन्शियसली एक फीलिंग थी कि यार पता है शायद टूर ही करना चाहिए. और मैं लास्ट ईयर इंडिया आया था, हमने दिल्ली में कुछ शोज किए थे और वो थोड़े अंडरवेलमिंग से थे, इन द सेंस कि उतना मजा नहीं आता परफॉर्म करने में. एंड सो वी वांटेड टू डू शोज ऑन आवर ओन अकॉर्ड, कि एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम द स्टेज टू द सेट लिस्ट टू हाउ पीपल आर वॉकिंग इन इज अकॉर्डिंग टू अस. तो इतना परफेक्टली क्यूरेटेड शो पुल ऑफ करना मुश्किल था. तो वी जस्ट डिसाइडेड कि एक बहुत इंटीमेट सा वेन्यू लेंगे, सिर्फ 25 लोगों को बुलाएंगे, लेट्स सी हाउ इट गोज. एंड द रिस्पॉन्स वॉज अनबिलीवेबल. लाइक वो 25-40 सीटें जितनी भी थी, आई थिंक 3 मिनट के अंदर सारी रजिस्टर हो गई थी. एंड दैट्स व्हेन वी डिसाइडेड कि लेट्स डू 3 more shows in Delhi. So we ended up doing 5 shows in Delhi in 6 days, and each show had like 25-30 unique people.
Yes, easy.
So in essence we performed for over 100 people in a span of 5 days. फिर उसके बाद मैंने उसको वैसे पिक किया कि चल बाकी शहर भी चलते हैं. And then he was like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And there was no plan at all. I think you can tell them about how we've just built everything from scratch.
हमने बस अंधा एम करा एंड
Yeah.
हमने पोल निकाला है कि कौन से शहरों में वी वर लाइक कि जिस शहर में सबसे ज़्यादा आएंगे, हमने एक बेंचमार्क ले लिया कि 20-25 के ऊपर लोग चाहिए. एंड सो वी एंडेड अप विथ देहरादून, चंडीगढ़, वडोदरा, मुंबई, पुणे, भुवनेश्वर एंड बैंगलोर. These were a list of how many? 7 cities outside Delhi that we planned to hit. And yeah, every city had like a different response altogether. We were like कि पैसे भी नहीं कमाने ज़्यादा, we just want to make break even and we just want to play for these people. Yeah. And finally like a chance to meet the people who listen to our music. And
just to add, those 5 shows in Delhi that we did, they were for free.
yeah,
हमें
those were
पैसे
for free.
चाहिए ही नहीं थे. हमें बस ये चाहिए था कि जो हमारे दिमाग में हमारा परफेक्ट शो है, कैन वी पुल दैट ऑफ. एंड सिंस इट वाज सो गुड, और बाकी शहरों में वो फ्री शो करना मुश्किल था बिकॉज यू नो ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव टू ट्रैवल, यू हैव टू स्टे, यू हैव टू ईट. तो इसलिए वी सेट ऑल द टिकट प्राइसेस अकॉर्डिंग टू डिफरेंट सिटीज just so that we could cover up. And in the end I think we did end up covering up, and थोड़ी पापड़ी चाट के भी पैसे बच गए थे.
Yes.
So that was, I think, an amazing experience.
The only place that couldn't pan out was Bhubaneswar.
Yeah.
Because the logistics weren't just adding up.
Yeah, it's also important to note that we divided our entire tour into 3 legs, which made it easier for us to catch our breath and then plan for the next show. क्योंकि 7 शहरों का एक साथ plan करना is unbelievable, you know. We can't do that without any proper references या contacts. It was just us reaching out to people, making sure that ये venue की इतनी capacity है, इसका budget इतना है. It's just us talking to them. There's no like middleman here. So we had to divide the tour into 3 different legs. हमारे third leg में we had initially thought कि हम बैंगलोर और भुवनेश्वर दोनों करेंगे, but भुवनेश्वर just turned out too out of our reach because एक तो traveling there is very difficult. हम लोग बैंगलोर ही ट्रेन में 40 घंटा बैठ कर गए यहाँ से, because we had to save on travel costs. And then we were like कि चलो ट्रेन में तो बैठना है. वो हमने सोचा नहीं था कि भाई ट्रेन में फैसिलिटीज तो यूज करनी होती है.
Oh yeah.
तो
That was daunting.
that was daunting.
सारे जगह से अच्छा
Indian Railways हमारा for the big update that everybody is waiting for. We did not shit
at all.
at all.
At all.
At all. Like it's amazing how much the body is capable of, you know. एकदम से वैसे PTSD वाले मोड में चले गए. But yeah, that's why we had to like cancel Bhubaneswar, because it was just not happening. So we had to, you know, apologize to the people there, because there were about 25-30 people who wanted to see us there. So yeah. And one last thing I would say is कि the reason this tour has been a success is because हमने बहुत ही औकात में रह के ड्रीम किया. We never dreamt of, you know, these huge venues selling out like 100-200 people for a show. We were just like, यार 15-20 लोग भी आ जाए, हमारा बेसिक खर्चा निकल जाए, and then we'll be happy to do the show. And just having that little benchmark for us really kept on surprising us.
And I think that was this whole idea was also in the spirit of the show, because we were doing
Yeah.
just a very bare minimum. We don't have like anything. It's just an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
and us and a small looper, and इसकी वजह से I think the whole setting, all the venues, they just lined up correctly. We didn't need big venues. We didn't need a lot of people. Because the softness of the set was also reciprocated by the softness of the audience, and everyone would just sit quietly on the floor and they would listen to the music. And
Yeah, some of the sessions were too beautiful. It's
yeah,
just,
some
you
of the
know,
sessions were amazing.
अभी जैसे हम यहाँ पे बैठे हैं बस हमारे हाथ में गिटार है. That's the only difference.
That's the only difference.
And इतना ही गैप है हम में और ऑडियंस के बीच में. And
Thank you.
गलतियाँ is also a part of the show. जैसे बीच में आवाज थोड़ी क्रैक होती है, गिटार में एक नोट गलत जाता है,
Yeah,
लिरिक्स भूल
I
जाता है,
forget
लिरिक्स भूल जाता
I
है.
forget a lot of lyrics.
But that's part of the entire show. Like, you're not aiming for a perfect show. You're just aiming for a very sincere show. And all of this just, yeah, adds up together for this very wholesome experience where even the people, कई लोग हमें आके बाद में बोल रहे थे कि this is the very first show I've ever attended.
Oh yeah.
And so if
lot
we
of
can
students
set the standard there कि भाई this is how, you know, live music is enjoyed, I think that's an amazing start for their live music journey, right? I don't know, for some reason just talking about it is making me more nostalgic.
0 to 4.
Looking back at the tour.
19 जल्दी है.
19 तो आ गया यार. आजकल यही होता है, प्रैक्टिस करने के बाद ऐसे हो जाता है कि भाई इट्स कमिंग टू एन एंड, यू नो.
फिर से कर देंगे सरप्राइज शो एंडिंग.
ताकत नहीं बची यार, बस
2-3 महीने बाद.
हाँ, ये भी जाने से पहले.
How did you guys evolve, like separately, and then you guys came together? How was that journey?
इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ये, अभी मेरी हाल ही में किसी से बात हो रही थी कि एज अ म्यूजिशियन इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नॉट जस्ट टॉक अबाउट म्यूजिक ऑल द टाइम. एंड द बेस्ट थिंग अबाउट अस इज दैट वी आर ऑल्सो जस्ट वेरी गुड फ्रेंड्स
Yeah.
outside of music. So it becomes very easy to stay in touch, just to, मतलब मैं उसको ऐसे ही फ़ोन लगाऊंगा सिर्फ उसके हालचाल पूछने, और वो कभी मुझे मैसेज करेगा कि hey, how are you doing? That just makes it very easy to stay in touch with a person, right? And then music just is this whole iceberg on top of an iceberg.
Music is just like 5 to 7% of our conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. हमने last like we've known each other for 7-8 years. We've worked on some very intense projects. 9 years.
9 years. 9 years.
Shit. So 9 years, and we've worked on like very intense projects, but they are very few in number. Jesse, he's sometimes collaborated in my album work. Then we've made an EP called Kalo Asmi. We've made an EP called Bhabi Hunter, obviously. But 9 years के हिसाब से बहुत ही कम projects है, because the majority of the time that we spend together is just like learning about each other, learning about each other's processes, and how our life trajectories are so different. But you know, how are we just handling all of these situations that life throws at us? तो हमारी majority तो बस यही conversations में जाता है time. So that makes it easy to stay in touch.
How was the experience? Was it really very overwhelming? कि जब you know you have to call the venue, you have to set up everything.
I would say that it wasn't overwhelming at all, because fortunately for us, we ended up connecting with amazing people
Yeah.
who handled a lot of things for us. Vadodara mein we met this, we came in contact with this listener,
Alok and Yash.
Alok and Yash.
Yeah.
And these two guys, they took care of everything. They took care of talking to venues, to deciding the venue, to bargaining with the venue on our behalf. And
They came to pick us.
they came
up
to
on the
pick us
station.
up. We stayed at their place. I think we were short of a mic stand. They contacted a store. They arranged the mic stand. So this was just one situation, Vadodara. In Dehradun, we had this a friend of mine. His name is Vansh. He organized the whole thing. He talked to the venue, and in Chandigarh also we met amazing people. They run a space called Live at the Factory, and they are just amazing people. They took care of everything. We performed at LATF live at the factory, and it was amazing. They took care of everything. They picked us up from the bus stand. They arranged for everything, food, everything. And similarly in Mumbai, I mean, it was there, and
Sound Park,
Sound
yeah.
Park, and Pune and Bangalore was all because of this friend of mine. His name is Harit. He just handled everything. The last two cities, he just went all in. We didn't even have to talk to the venue. We didn't have to say anything to anyone. He did everything.
And he did it as a well-wisher.
Yeah.
When you guys were preparing for a show, yeah, you guys were there on the stage for the first time, but in that city exactly.
Were there butterflies?
I think first few shows that we did in Delhi, definitely butterflies थे. First 2-3 shows तो थे. Then Dehradun, when we did the first leg, Dehradun के लिए भी थे, because all of a sudden now we're going to do the set for new people. But then उसके बाद it dissipated. And second leg में वडोदरा में भी we were just very, I think I was very cozy with everything.
Yeah.
And
Same. ये पता है मैंने last year notice किया था. John Mayer was on a solo tour. He was performing just by himself, which is like a template for what we are doing. So I went to his show both in New York and Chicago, two different places. So different cities, different people in the audience, but they react similarly. You know, लोग अलग है, but जो show में moments होते हैं where he repeats his jokes sometimes, he repeats the moments in his songs. People laugh and clap at the same time. It's like लोग जितने भी अलग हैं, हम चाहे जितना भी सोचते हैं हम unique है, you know, they are very same. And we also started discovering that, like, हम भी jokes repeat करते हैं हमारे banter में. He does this part in his song which is like very intense, and we get like same reaction every time wherever we go. So it's just like, you know, sitting with some friends in a living room, performing for them. और फिर वो सारा दिमाग से चला जाता है कि हम कहाँ पे आए हैं, कैसे आए हैं, ट्रेन में बैठ के, बस में बैठ के. When you're on the stage, when you're sitting on the chair with those people there, it's just like doing the same thing again and again, without it getting boring, of course. तो वैसे कभी लगता ही नहीं कि नई जगह पे आ गए, कुछ हो रहा है. Those 2 hours on the stage that we spent together, it's like बहुत ही एक सेम वो वाइब आ गई उसमें कि वैसे लगता नहीं कि कुछ बहुत अलग हो रहा है यहाँ पे.
Comfortable हो गए हम.
बहुत बहुत comfortable हो गए हम लोग. Yeah.
And we also make sure we interact with the audience before we start playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
उससे बहुत ease out हो जाता है, जो भी, you know, any crevices that we might have.
हाँ,
It
मतलब
all
जब
gets-
लोग आते भी है तो like we are there to greet them, welcome
Yeah.
them, बोलते कि बैठो यहाँ.
और
पैर
में से
फैला के
काफियों
बैठो.
से we have also like you know, spoken to on Instagram DMs में. तो it's just feel like अच्छा इसको तो मैं जानता हूँ, you know,
Yes.
just gets very easy.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's the whole thing is just वो शुरू से ही seeds उसके ले हो जाते हैं once we release music, and we already talk to these people.
Yeah.
ये लोग हमारे गाने भी शेयर करते, तो we love to know what they think about the song. We share our thoughts. So bas that is happening in person.
And it's always great to put a face to the name.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
Yeah.
So there is this listener. Her Instagram handle is Dosa Cat. I don't know exactly what her name is, but she wasn't able to attend even one show because I think she lives in Himachal या कहीं पे.
Yeah.
But उसके दोस्त सारे शहरों में फैले हुए. दिल्ली में, पुणे में, बैंगलोर में भी थे शायद.
Yes.
So what she
yes.
does is she sends flowers for us through her friends. And हमें शायद 4 different occasions पे in different cities, somebody just comes to us flowers लेके, भैया डोसा कैट ने भिजवाया है. And it's like just every time blows my mind कि भाई इसके
Yeah.
लोग कहाँ पे छुपे हुए हैं.
Yeah, this happened in Delhi.
It
happened in Pune.
हाँ.
And then in Bangalore, these people come up and they're like, can you sign something for Dosa Cat?
Yeah.
Like, again, and I'm like, yes, I will sign something for Dosa Cat. And yeah, it's
That's one funny just एक inside story
Yeah.
जो हमारे पूरे टूर में चल
I
रहा है.
don't know, 19th को there might be something.
I'm pretty sure कोई ना कोई
will come.
फूल लेके आएगा कि भाई डोसा कैट ने भिजवाया.
Now tell me, इतने टाइम तक एक साथ रहना, what was the dynamic? मतलब give me some spice, क्या हुआ वहाँ पे?
we just like naturally end up having these great conversations whenever we
Yeah.
are like
बहुत डीप
hanging
चले
out.
जाते हैं भाई, बहुत इतनी इंटेंस, वो एकदम एंड ऑफ द लाइफ क्राइसिस वाली जो सिचुएशंस होती है ना.
Yeah, one of the best conversations like I would say that I've ever had with anyone.
Yeah.
तो ट्रेन में
Likewise.
भी बैठे बैठे he'll wake up, I'm like sleepy, and then we went down and sat down, and then he's like, and then we just like
ऐसे
we
दोनों
start
नींद
talking
में
about
स्टेशन के बाहर किसी गरीब आदमी को देख लिया एंड वी आर लाइक क्या जिंदगी है यार,
yeah,
कितना स्ट्रगल है इस दुनिया में, एंड देन वी जस्ट एंड अप हैविंग लाइक अ 2 hour कन्वर्सेशन ऑल दैट.
and then we start hypothesizing कि उसकी life में भी कुछ अच्छा होएगा, and maybe
Yeah.
like he's happier than us or something. It just goes on and on. That's basically what happened the entire tour.
Yeah.
Like traveling में इतना वेला time था कि he had to like just talk about stuff, plan stuff out, or just
And we both are very compromising, very adjusting. Compromising not in a bad sense, but like कि ठीक है यार, ऐसे नहीं ऐसे चलता है, अगर सामने वाले को ऐसे नहीं ऐसे चाहिए. जैसे एक दिन मेरा मन था कि मुझे अच्छा ही खाना है, मुझे सिर्फ आज साउथ इंडियन खाना है, डोसा खाना है. Like, हाँ हाँ कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. मतलब देयर इज जस्ट नो टू वेज अबाउट इट कि नहीं यार मेरी ये इच्छा थी खाने की. किसी दिन ही इज लाइक कि नहीं आज ये नहीं ये करता है, चलो ठीक. Like let's just go with it,
Yeah.
We are setting such an ideal template for relationships. If you're a couple,
Wow.
just take notes. Yeah.
How was the expectations then reality, and now that everything is coming to an end, so how is that feeling? Please, if you could tell me.
How do you feel?
I think it went better than I expected.
Mm.
There's this with me. I am pretty sure it happened with him also. There's this like one aspect of this entire show, entire tour actually, that changed a lot of things for me. And that was when I finally met listeners, and people would come and say like how Abbas changed their life or something. There was this one girl I met in Dehradun, and she told me that there's a song called Rogue from my album Awaz, and she heard Rogue, and she thought that was legit written by a woman, and made me feel very good about myself because I was trying to write as a woman in the entire album, and she said that for 7 months straight she just listened to Rogue, and it really helped her, and it really comforted her, and it was her go-to song, and it just like stayed with her in a very very dark period of her life. So also people I met who were inspired by my songs. They were inspired by my guitar playing or something. They were inspired by my production or something, and it just made me feel very good about myself that I've done something right in my life. There's this song of mine called Lata Ka Sapna. It talks about gender oppression, and I was playing that in Pune, and when I would go silent, I could hear sniffs in the crowd. And at first I thought someone has a cold, but then like turns out that like every time I paused there was a sniff, and I realized that there are a few people who are tearing up listening to the song. And that was a very new feeling for me because I was feeling very emotional while performing the track, and I don't know, it just then a couple of listeners, they just left immediately after the show, and later on they texted me and they said that listening to the same song in a acoustic setup, in a live setup, in such a vulnerable setup has made them uh, made them perceive my album differently, and now they can't wait to revisit the project. And just thinking about all these people makes me feel very grateful that there's actually, and this immense gratitude makes me want to do something for the listeners. Whenever I'm feeling down or something, I just think about these people that I met throughout the tour, and it just makes me feel so grateful that these people are there in my life, and they're looking forward to new music that I make, and they already listen to the music that I made. So I've done something already, something good. And again, I want to thank all the listeners and all the people I met on
For sure.
camera.
Yeah, likewise for me, for I think both of us, this tour comes at a time where we are facing lives problems in our lives. मतलब belief for Darzi to is our musician life. और इसके बाहर भी जो हमारी ज़िंदगी है, लाइक वी बोथ आर इन अ वेरी डिफरेंट सेटिंग, बट एट क्रॉस रोड्स इन आवर लाइफ वेयर every single decision has a major consequence. और सबकी लाइफ में आई थिंक ऐसा पॉइंट आता ही है वेर लाइक टू डू एनीथिंग यू हैव टू थिंक एटलीस्ट 3-4 टाइम्स, और फिर देन यू डिसाइड थिंक कि अच्छा ऐसा करूँगा तो ऐसा होगा, बट वैसा करूँगा तो वैसी और चीज़ें हो सकती है. सो ऐसे पॉइंट पे, लाइक ही सेड, दीज पीपल व्हेन दे टॉक टू अस, व्हेन दे शो देयर ग्रैटिट्यूड, जस्ट रिमाइंड्स अस कि नहीं, there are also things that we are doing that's having a positive impact in our community, and it gives us back so much. क्योंकि जैसे मेरा भी एक गाना है जो मैंने लिखा था 2023 के न्यू ईयर पे. आई स्पेंड दैट जस्ट बाय माई सेल्फ, आई आइसोलेटेड माई सेल्फ. यूएस में तो अपने आप को आइसोलेट करना वैसे भी बहुत आसान है. तो आई ड्रोव 10 hours to this little place where the river Mississippi begins. It's just like in the middle of nowhere. तो बेमिडजी करके एक जगह है वो. तो वहाँ पे मैं रुका और मैंने एक गाना लिखा अपने लिए, समय को भी. इट्स जस्ट टू रिमाइंड माई सेल्फ, टाइम ऑल्सो पासिस. एंड देन 4-5 months लेटर आई जस्ट डिसाइडेड कि चलो इसको रिलीज कर देता है. क्या ही मतलब, पढ़े पढ़े कोई और सुन ले तो क्या फ़ायदा है, मतलब अच्छी बात है. एंड वहाँ से लेके ये टूर शुरू होने के पहले तक मुझे काफ़ी लोगों ने रीच आउट किया, एंड दे वर लाइक, आई यूज्ड टू हियर दैट सॉन्ग in my tough times. Like, there was somebody who said that their grandfather passed away, and this song was something that just comforted them. तो मैं फिर वापस वो गाना सुनता था, like from their perspective, कि what if my grandfather had passed away, and if somebody is saying something like this to me, and just used to be an experience जो बहुत ही यार अंदर से ऐसा कुचल देता है, पता है कि ये सब क्या हो रहा है मेरे साथ. And I am at the start of the inception of something like this. And then I met that person. और फिर उसने मुझे बाद में डीएम करके बोला कि when you were doing that song during your show, I again teared up. तो ऐसी चीज़ों से फिर जब प्रॉब्लम्स आती है लाइफ में, it's obviously not good to undermine your problems. They are still there, you have to take care of them. But it also gives you a very solid support. कि नहीं, I am a part of something beautiful as well. So not everything is lost. So we both are experiencing that on a daily basis.
Now that everything is coming to an end, when can we expect other tour now? अब next कब हो रहा है?
यहीं पे थोड़ी बात विचलित हो जाती है. I think for him, I am looking forward to the things he's gonna do. Just if I look at him objectively, as a listener, obviously he'll talk more about what he's working on and stuff. But like everybody knows, Darzi is an electronic actor, or acoustic is just, like, he obviously plays amazing guitar, and this is just a different kind of a tour that he's doing with me to basically fulfill my vision. But I am very excited for his proper Darzi set, where he's going to incorporate so many different things and stuff. For me personally, like I said, I still have a life in US that I have left behind, and I might go back to it later this year. तो मेरे लिए ये एक escape था. I wouldn't say it's like a permanent thing where I'm gonna keep doing these tours. बहुत एनर्जी पैसे लगते हैं, and I have my own financial responsibilities and stuff. तो पता नहीं फिर से कब होगा ज़रूर. It's obviously not something जो फिर से नहीं होगा, but it's venturing into darkness. I don't know when it will happen. I have no idea.
Any message you want to give to your fans, or maybe some other artists who are also planning on doing something like that?
I would only say that you have to assess your risks. मतलब थोड़ा सा वहाँ पे कॉन्शियस होना चाहिए कि if you're spending a lot of money, so just be aware of the consequences. And especially if you are an artist who's just starting out. If you can afford to take risks, जैसे अगर आपके पास, like, your parents just gave you this amount कि लो जियो, it's not a bad thing. Like, take that as a blessing in disguise, and if you can take that risk, just go out, explore for some time. 1-2 साल करके देखो, टूर करो, देखो, if you can pull these crazy things off. But if you're not in that position, just don't panic. Because if you keep doing the right thing, if you keep working hard, maybe आज नहीं पर आज से 5-10 साल बाद, you will get the opportunity. We both are like, what, 28-29 years old. और आजकल लोग 22 साल के होके सोचते हैं कि नहीं यार, हमारा सपना तो सपना ही रह गया. Like,
I met
yeah,
one such person very recently. Yeah.
I'm sure. It's like, nahi yaar, abhi main, like, I'll turn 30 next year, but it's not like I've given up. I know that I have to step back from music from time to time because I have to focus on my other life, but it's not going anywhere. Like, we have made a habit of blaming music. कि नहीं, म्यूजिक मेरा साथ नहीं दे रहा, म्यूजिक ये नहीं कर रहा, म्यूजिक से ये नहीं हो रहा. म्यूजिक कुछ नहीं करेगा. You go to music and it's like a mirror. It'll show you what is going inside you. If you want to get something from music, it'll definitely give you. If you want to blame music for your shortcomings, करते रहो, कुछ नहीं होगा उससे. So for every aspiring young artist, I'll just say कि don't panic, just do the right thing, and just be aware of the consequences. That's all.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that. People make it a very big thing. Music करते हैं, the music बनाते हैं, the producer है, the singer है. It's very fun.
Yeah.
The end of the day is just a very fun thing to do. So just keep having fun with it. Like that's where sometimes people they just stop having fun with their projects and becomes something that they need to just like finish quickly and they need to get
Yeah.
through it. Becomes a rut. That's not the case. Just have fun with it. That's why we started doing it basically. It was
Yeah.
so fun. And that's why we're still doing it. It's fun.
I think that only becomes tricky when people have made music their full time.
Expectations and
हाँ, क्योंकि अब पैसे अगर चाहिए और if you have made music your full time thing, I respect that, but just don't lose that artist within you. नहीं तो फिर तुम पूरे businessman या businesswoman ही बन चुके हो. So just yeah, like he said, just don't forget why you picked up that guitar for the first time, why you opened that door for the first time. Just don't forget that.
One learning, after one is a moment that you'll take it with you, and that would help you get through that life of yours.
I think doing this acoustic tour मेरे लिए बहुत अलग experience था because I have been performing. I usually don't do this. My performances are different, very different. I have a laptop. I have some tracks. I have some synths. I have some sounds. I manipulate those tracks. I sing. It's very different, very different. But doing these acoustic shows it reminded me that there was this one critical thing in all the shows that really made it a very enjoyable experience for me to just perform, and that was feedback. Like whatever I was playing, I could feedback on top of that and change something in the middle of it. And basically, it was very responsive. Like I would play a chord, I would play Jan Bujke a different chord. I'm feeling very responsive, I'll respond to that myself. And because of that, it was a very immersive experience for me also. I realized how and what needs to change in order for me to become very immersive when I'm on stage. And I think I'll take that with me for a very long time. I think that's going to change the entire game. And again, like acoustic sessions is what made me realize that. So very grateful again.
Yeah.
To him for having
like it
given the
goes
idea.
like वैसे अगर हम अभी एक दूसरे की तारीफ करने लगेंगे तो भगा देंगे वो हमें. But the learning for me probably is before a show, I think Bangalore से पहले, I was in two minds. I was talking to him कि maybe let's not do this, and it was because of I was having some problems in my real life. और अभी फिर से जो दिल्ली में शो है इसमें भी वी वर इन टू माइंड्स कि करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए. आई एम नॉट फीलिंग लाइक इट. एंड सो आई वाज टॉकिंग टू माय गर्लफ्रेंड आल्सो अबाउट दिस 3-4 दिन पहले. एंड उससे बात करते करते दिस केम अप कि लाइक यू आर नॉट परफॉर्मिंग एवरी टाइम फॉर योरसेल्फ. एंड आई विल टेल यू व्हाई. लाइक ऐसा माना जाता है कि मुझे अपने लिए करना चाहिए, मुझे परफॉर्म अपने लिए करना है, राइट? बट शी इज़ लाइक यू आर नॉट ऑलवेज परफॉर्मिंग फॉर योरसेल्फ. वो लोग भी तो आ रहे हैं ना तुम्हें देखने. तो उससे मुझे काफ़ी इंस्पिरेशन मिला बिकॉज आई एम ऑल्सो वर्किंग ऑन एन एल्बम दिस ईयर. एल्बम इज कॉल्ड दुख दर्द पीड़ा. आयरॉनिक. या. एंड उसमें भी काफ़ी सारे ऐसे स्टेजेस आए कि जहाँ पे क्यों कर रहा हूँ यार मैं ये, किसके लिए बना रहा हूँ, ऐसे ऐसे मोमेंट्स आए. बट दिस एक्सपीरियंस जस्ट हेल्प्स मी कि नहीं, आई एम नॉट जस्ट डूइंग इट फॉर माई सेल्फ. I'm also doing it for the people who are involved in this project because like he is doing a lot of synth work. There is a bassist Vibhu और ऐसे काफी सारे लोग हैं. तब उन लोगों के लिए भी कर रहा हूँ मैं ये.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन है, डू यू थिंक दिस इज द ग्रेटेस्ट अचीवमेंट आपके करियर के अभी तक, ये पूरा टूर जो हुआ है?
मेरे लिए yes 100%. Yeah, just yeah to have the confidence in my music क्योंकि वो सिर्फ टूर की बात नहीं है. It's also about the songs that I am doing in this tour, right? तो वो जो एक सेट लिस्ट बनी है इट जस्ट बिकम्स माई ग्रेटेस्ट अचीवमेंट क्योंकि अब मेरे पास ऐसे गाने हैं जो मैं कहीं पे भी जाके किसी को भी सुना सकता हूँ और एंड दे फाइंड मीनिंग इन दैट म्यूजिक. सो फॉर मी इट्स माई ग्रेटेस्ट अचीवमेंट.
I do look at this tour as a turning point in my life. Again, like I said, I met, like he also said, we met those people that we are doing this for, and it just gave me a new perspective as to who I'm actually making this music for.
Yeah.
And it was just a very holistic experience for me. I met a lot of online friends also because of this. I met a lot of old friends that I hadn't met in a very long time. I told you, right? There was this third guy in that room that he was also a part of when they ragged me. So in Bangalore, we ended up going for dinner with that guy and his
Yeah.
girlfriend, and it was so nice meeting them. You know, it was just like it's
Yeah.
fun.
This time we both were ragging him.
I met a relative, a very close relative,
Huh.
that I hadn't met in 20 years, and it just it's amazing.
चलो,
It's been
tables
amazing.
turn away. बदला लिया आपने ragging का.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who's gonna rag you?
Sorry शांतनु. मैं भाभी हंटर गाता हूँ, तू हारमोनीज दे दे.
ठीक है.
We are gonna sing भाभी हंटर for you. सब लोग शॉक हो जाएंगे, वो भाई ये सीरियस बातें करके ये क्या गा रहे हैं लोग. Okay, try to give harmonies. ठीक है, मैं स्केल में गाने की कोशिश करता हूँ.
Yes.
ऐसे से करो. जो काली साड़ी है वो मेरी कमजोरी, हाँ, पर चिंता क्यों मुझको प्यार है थोड़ी ना. ऊपर से काली बिंदी भी तूने ना छोड़ी, मैंने अपनी शक्ति फिर भी ना है तोड़ी. भाभी हंटर सब कहते हैं मुझको, मैं तो तेरी अदाओं का शिकार हूँ, क्यों ना समझे तुझको. भाभी हंटर सब कहते हैं मुझको, मैं तो तेरी अदाओं का शिकार हूँ, क्यों ना समझे तुझको. तो मेरे लिए ये escape था. I wouldn't say it's like a permanent thing where I'm gonna keep doing these tours. बहुत एनर्जी पैसे लगते हैं. I have my own financial responsibilities and stuff. तो पता नहीं फिर से कब होगा ज़रूर. It's obviously not something जो फिर से नहीं होगा, but it's venturing into darkness. I don't know when it will happen.